Hey everybody, it's Party Elite here with an in-depth breakdown of the brand new Tomb Kings trailer and all the other Tomb Kings news that was just dropped earlier today, maybe yesterday, depending on your time zone. The DLC comes out on the 23rd of January, and you can bet I'm going to be covering it as best as I can, so keep an eye out for future talks as well. There's a lot to talk about, so let's dive right into it. If you're curious about the lore, check out the video I've linked under the eye at the top right corner of the screen, where I get into much more depth. It's fascinating stuff. First things first though, the trailer for your viewing pleasure before I start going through it all.
You covet our power. You covet our wealth. Your empires fall while we endure. What you will find is our curse. Our true king will show them. We do not serve. We rule.
Here we have our first look at the Ushabti, large guardian statues carved to look like gods and goddesses. We're going to be getting these guys in ranged and melee formats, and here we see them in melee, of course. I imagine they'll cause fear, maybe even terror, and I'm hoping they will encourage nearby Tomb Kings units. Either way, I expect them to be a heavy-hitting unit on the field as monstrous infantry. And now, we see the Tomb Scorpion. I'm very glad to see it realized, because I was worried we'd miss out on it. It looks like they'll be single-entity monsters, or maybe they'll come out in extremely small units, and it's good to see that the Stinger gets some use. I'm sure we'll see plenty of neat animations on the battlefield. These guys will likely cause poison damage, have a bit of magic resistance, and should cause some fear at the very least.
Our true king will show them. We do not serve. We rule.
Chariots. Chariots for days. Move aside, Sort the Ek, because the Tomb Kings are now here. The bone train of skeleton chariots is going to be real with Total War, and I'm hoping the Tomb King chariots get their due. Higher firing rates, good charge bonuses, and some killer stats on the charge. This might lead to some micro-intense disruptive armies, and I'm extremely excited to see that unfold. Lots to see in this frame. We've got these sepulchral stalkers swiftly slithering their way up to the battle, and again, I'm glad to see them included, as I was worried we might not get them. I wonder if we're going to see anti-large and anti-infantry variants. We've also got the Ushabti in the frame over here, and if we move on to the next shot, we can see carrions. These birds will likely act as harpies or fellbats, keeping enemy units tied down and pinned in place, allowing you to respond with ideal counters or, of course, prevent ranged fire from the enemy. That's the Cameroon War Sphinx, unless I'm horribly mistaken. It looks like there's a howdah on its back with just one model, so this might be the character mount variant rather than the one with a skeleton crew. and it looks like there is a breath ability associated with said War Sphinx. Now the Necrosphinx looking glorious as all hell, possibly coming in with anti-large and armor-piercing, or, just being an overall destroyer of worlds and units. Again, glad to see the Necrosphinx made it into the roster. Poison damage, perhaps, and the ability to fly? I'm curious how that will be represented. In the trailer, it looks like it's entirely grounded, but who knows, maybe they're keeping the flight reveal for later, so we all need yet another clean pair of pants. And now, a Hydro Titan. If I'm not mistaken, they never got a tabletop model, but here it is in all its glory. Wait, no. Here it is in all its glory. We can confirm in a later screenshot that Laser Eyes is not, in fact, a breath type ability, but I guess that means it's a standard attack this beast will make instead, and they'll come to the field with Shem's Burning Gaze and Spirit Leech as bound abilities, but again, we'll see that on a screenshot a little bit later in this video. Here is a screenshot that shows the Hydro Titan firing its laser eyes as some carrions fly behind it and the Ushapti fight the Skaven. Again, now we can actually see the Hydro Titan in-game, how it'll actually look on the battlefield. Here's a Screaming Skull Catapult alongside some Tomb Scorpions further back next to some Skeleton Archers, so all of these units are confirmed. And here we have High Queen Khalida looking all kinds of glorious, with carrions in the distance flying above Tomb Guards, Skeleton Warriors, Tomb Scorpions, Screaming Skull Catapults, Ushapti, and a War Sphinx with a Howdah. There's also this taller unit of skeletons here. I'm not sure if those are bone giants, they don't look tall enough to be that, but they definitely look taller than the regular skeleton soldiers. In this screenshot, we can see the Necropolis Knights in action, and these guys will be the heavy cavalry, potentially with some variants for anti-large maybe. These guys will be able to last a little bit longer in melee, I imagine, and will pair nicely with the chariots that push in and out swiftly. This screen also shows that there are some halberd skeleton units, and these purple icons probably represent the Legions of Legend that we'll get into some more detail about later. Up top, we also see the extra battlefield flavor that we'll discuss later as well, and to the right here, you can see the ability to bring some Ushapti to the field when hitting that third threshold on this bar. Back down and to the right here is the army ability to bring Ushapti to the field as well. This is separate from the unique murderous prowess-like ability on the battlefield that the Tomb Kings are going to have, but again, more on that later. At the bottom, though, you can see that there are melee Ushapti as well as a ranged variant in the unit card, so fear not, there will be that range support on the field. And here's a better shot of the Knights battling some Lizardmen alongside a Sepulchral Stalker or two to the back. Next up, we can see the War Sphinx and the Necrosphinx in action with a Hydro Titan in the background. The unit cards this time seem to reveal the Casket of Souls down here, potentially providing magical assistance to the field, acting as a Luminarch maybe firing away, and acting as a Mortis Engine when destroyed, exploding to damage nearby troops. You can also see that the Hydro Titan is selected, so abilities to the left are related to that, and you can see Spirit Leech and Shem's Burning Gaze. Now let's take a look at all the info that's been revealed elsewhere. When it comes to the legendary lords, we have, naturally, Settra the Imperishable, Kemrikara, Mighty Lion of the Infinite Desert, Emperor of the Shifting Sands, He Who Holds the Scepter, Great Hawk of the Heavens, King of Kings, Monarch of the Sky, Majestic Emperor of the Shifting Sands, High King of Nehekara, Ruler of the Four Horizons, as the faction leader. He will bring bonuses to growth and public order, and will reduce construction time, representing his desire to see his fallen empire rise once more. He'll give bonus armor to skeleton chariots and tomb guards, and will also have access to a Kemrian War Sphinx and the Chariot of the Gods as mounts. High Queen Khalida was the warrior queen of Labaris, and in her last living moments, she found herself dueling her cousin Neferata. Neferata tried to turn Khalida with a blood kiss, but Khalida called out to Asaf, the serpent goddess, for aid. The goddess purified her of the taint, and Khalida was spared from vampirism. Khalida will reduce corruption in all forms on the campaign map and will also get a diplomatic bonus with other Tomb King factions, while also getting a lot of extra ammunition for her ranged units across the faction. That's very thematic and nice to see that little bit from lore being brought in here. She also gives poison attacks to all units in her army, while not suffering as harshly from attrition. Grand Hierophant Khatep was the head of the mortuary cult's Hierophantic Council, one of the oldest and wisest of Lich Priests. Khatep was the one who actually brought Settra back, but he was ultimately exiled because Settra no longer trusted the mortuary cult. With him, we'll be roaming the land of the dead, trying to help the Tomb Kings however possible, hoping to redeem ourselves. Khatep will grant research rate bonuses and will provide replenishment rate boosts and campaign movement benefits faction-wide. Naturally, he's also able to recruit more Lich Priest heroes and will recruit them at a higher rank. Arkhan the Black is the final legendary lord, and I'll be honest, I suspected we'd see him in the third game for reasons I'll get into in a different video. He was Nagash's lieutenant and helped lead the coup, ultimately dying to protect Nagash from certain death. He was raised later, again, to become the Lich King, and since Nagash died, Arkhan the Black went about terrorizing the land of the living. He'll see better diplomatic relations with the Vampire Count factions, and vampiric corruption won't be a public order issue for his provinces. He also gives melee benefits to heroes in his army, while the entire faction will see better wins of magic power reserves. Regular lords will include Tomb Kings, some of whom will be unique named Tomb Kings from the 6 dynasties of Nehekaran history. These unique ones can be resurrected through the Dynasties panel as a campaign mechanic for the Tomb Kings. Tomb Kings can ride in on skeleton steeds, skeleton chariots, and Kemrian war sphinxes. Tomb Princes are a hero that act as a battle champion on the field, able to inflict a target with a curse that gets them to rampage. These princes can ride in on steeds and chariots, and that curse ability sounds like it will be absolutely insane if used correctly. Let's hope it can't target enemy lords and casters, or at least not enemy casters. That would be very interesting and maybe a little frustrating to deal with as well. Now, Lich Priests are the magic wielders, bringing the lore of light, death, or Nehekara to the field, and they have a curse ability that can reduce enemy armor. They also have access to the Immortal campaign map skill earlier than other agents, and can come in on steeds and chariots as well. Finally, the Necrotechs are the architects of Nehekara, reducing building costs, increasing movement speeds, and acting as a support character on the battlefield, providing aura-based buffs to constructs such as Ushabti and Tomb Scorpions and Hyrotitans. Once again, we can unlock steeds and chariots for the Necrotechs as well. On the campaign map, we're going to see a unique objective as predicted. The Tomb Kings don't care for the Vortex, and instead, they seek the cursed Books of Nagash. After finding 9 of them, each of which grants a unique campaign map bonus, there will be a quest battle at the Black Pyramid of Nagash itself. Canopic jars are collected through missions, buildings, and post-battle loot, and these are the resources used to awaken powerful units, perform rites, unlock technology, and craft unique items. The Mortuary Cult is the cult of Lich Priests that can be called upon to construct these unique items using trade resources as well as the Canopic jars. Now, these items include magic weapons, armors, talismans, etc., and the Mortuary Cult can also resurrect powerful Legions of Legend for use in armies. This might suggest that we're going to have access to Regiments of Renown for DLC factions right away this time around, and that would be a welcome change. Again, as we saw in the earlier screenshot, the little purple icons indicate, I think, these Legions of Legend that will be recruited much like those monster-hunted units from the Norska faction. Finally, as far as technology goes, we're going to see a look into the past rather than into the future with the Tomb Kings. The Dynasties of Nehekara has the Tomb Kings pouring through history, resurrecting great rulers of the past and unlocking various campaign and unit buffs, while also having the chance to awaken heralds of ancient armies that are unique followers bringing bonuses to key units in an army. Very curious to see how that hero unit works. It sounds sort of like a Green Knight, except brought about through technology instead. There are, naturally, 4 unique rites to go with the Tomb Kings as well. The Great Incantation of Tra gives us a unique Necrotech that can colonize ruins at level 3. The Great Incantation of Kashar brings a sandstorm across controlled territory, hitting enemy armies with attrition and increasing ambush success chance. It also gives Tomb King armies the Sand Veil ability that enables units to be hidden and gain stalking in battle. The Great Incantation of Geheb increases growth and Canopic jar creation while reducing construction time and providing the Tomb Swarm ability to armies. This is a Vortex spell that brings scarabs in to cause damage to the enemy. The Great Incantation of Tahoth adds a Casket of Souls artillery piece to the recruitment pool and gives extra ranks to new units and Tomb Kings recruited at the time, while increasing recruitment capacity at the same time. Now, in battle, we're going to see the Realm of Souls, the afterlife in Nehekaran mythos. Similar to the Dark Elves' Murderous Prowess bar, the Tomb Kings will see a bar fill up to 3 key thresholds as their soldiers die. The Realm of Souls is triggered at each of these thresholds, giving stronger and stronger regeneration across the army, and the final wave will also allow for the summoning of an Ushabti anywhere on the battlefield. It'll be interesting to see how this 2nd, 3rd, and 4th wind will turn battles at the death. A lot of information to consume today, and I'm excited to see what else comes up over the next few weeks. The wait is going to be long and arduous, but I cannot wait to get my hands on the Tomb Kings, start up a campaign, and kick off some battles. As always, make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with Total War content. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, Cheers.